Hello, good morning. Today we are going to discuss muscles of the mouth or muscles around the mouth. In that, first we are going to discuss the levator labii superioris alachnasi, which arises from the frontal process of the maxilla. And here we can see this is the frontal process of the maxilla, and it arises from the frontal process of the maxilla and runs downwards and divides into two slips. One slip inserted into the greater alar cartilage and the another one into the skin of the upper lip. Now coming to the levator labii superioris, which has three heads: the angular head, the intermediate head and the zygomatic head. The angular head, which arises from the frontal process of the maxilla and inserted into the alar cartilage and the skin of the upper lip, and the intermediate head, which arises from the infraorbital margin above the infraorbital foramina and inserted into the skin of the upper lip. And now coming to the zygomatic head, which arises from this malar bone. We can see this is the malar bone just behind the zygomatico-maxillar suture. This is the zygomatico-maxillar suture. The zygomatic head of the levator labii superioris muscle, which arises from the behind the zygomatico-maxillar suture and inserted into the integument of the upper lip. Now coming to the caninus muscle, also called as the levator anguli oris, which arises from the canine fossa just below the infraorbital foramina. Here we can see this is the canine fossa. We can see it arises below the infraorbital foramina and inserted into the integument of the angle of the mouth, integument of the angle of the upper lip. Another muscle which is zygomaticus major and zygomaticus minor muscle. The zygomaticus major muscle, which arises from the zygomatic bone just in front of the zygomatico-temporal suture. We can see this is the zygomatico-temporal suture and the zygomaticus muscle, which arises from this area in front of the zygomatico-temporal muscles and which are inserted into the integument of the upper lip. Levator labii superioris alachnasi, levator labii superioris oris and caninus, which is also called as the levator anguli oris, and zygomaticus minor major, which are supplied by the facial nerve. Functions of the levator labii superioris muscle, which act as the elevator of the upper lip, and the angular head, which helps in the dilation of the nares, and the zygomatic head and the intermediate head, which helps in the formation of nasolabial furrow and gives the expression of the sadness. When the whole muscle act, it will give the expression as a contempt. Functions of the caninus muscle, which helps in the formation of nasolabial furrow and give the expression of sadness. The function of the zygomaticus muscle, which elevates the upper lip and it takes the angle of the mouth into backward and helps in laughing. Now we will discuss muscles of the lower lip around the mouth. In that, first one, the mentalis muscle, which originated from the just below the incisive fossa and descends into the integument of the chin. And the second muscle, which is that depressor labii inferioris, which originated from between the parasymphysis and here we can see this is the mental foramina. This is the oblique line. It originates between the parasymphysis and mental foramina and inserted into the integument of the lower lip. And another muscle, that is depressor angularis oris, which originated from this oblique line. This arises from the oblique line. Here is only this part, and it inserted into the integument of the angle of the mouth. And this mentalis, depressor angularis oris, and depressor labii inferioris, which are supplied by the facial nerve. Now coming to the functions of the mentalis muscle, which helps in the protrusion of the protrudes the chin and formation of the wrinkles near the chin and gives the expression as a doubt. And the function of the depressor labii inferioris, which draw the lower lip downward and little lateral. The function of the triangularis muscle, it draws the angle of the lower lip medial wall. Buccinator, orbicularis oris and risorius muscles discussed later. Thank you.